Boom. There we go. Vagner Rocha in the house. How you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. How are
Good,
you
man.
guys?
I'm good, man. Hanging in there, man. Big weekend this last weekend. Lots of shit. I got to see you twice this weekend. That was pretty cool.
Right? A lot of work.
you you training a lot this week or what?
Yeah, man. I'm full grind. Getting my body ready for matches to come. I got a lot of stuff on the plate. You know,
What's next coming up for you?
I got fight to win in Philly.
Oh, that Philly card, man. I was thinking about flying up for that card. That's a big card, man. There's a lot of big matches on that. You got who's your guy in Philly?
I'm fighting JT
Oh
Torres.
yeah, that's right, man. That's a fucking another great match, dude.
Mm-hmm.
You keep pulling out these fucking top notch guys, man. I saw your match with Krellinson, man. That was fucking amazing, dude. That was a great match. You're a fucking slick old bastard. You know that?
I'm crushing the young guys.
Yes, you are, my man. Yes, you are, my man. So, tell me a little bit about your match this weekend. For those of you guys who don't know, Vagner had an amazing match, and I didn't do my research, so I'm going to screw his damn name up. But how do you say his name again?
Celso Vinicius.
Celso Vinicius, and he's a multiple time IBJJF champion. Right? He's been competing forever. He's like a legend on the field, right?
Yeah, man. He's a guy who's been in the game a long time, beating some of the real good guys. Got wins over guys like Lepre and the who's of jiu-jitsu.
Right. He put freaking Enrico Coco to sleep with that fight to win down in Miami not too long ago, right?
No, it was actually on the Kasai stage, I think.
Oh, was it Kasai?
Mm-hmm.
Cool, man. So tell me about have you ever competed against him before? You ever had any matches with him before?
No, I never fought him until this Saturday.
Oh man, that's cool, dude. Did you were you excited about that one? Would you think it was gonna be a good match?
Yeah, man. I already knew who the guy was because I'd watch him at EDCC, and I watched him. He had some really good matches at EDCC. Fight JT as well, and I thought he did very well. And his match was kind of one of those that you're always kind of like, how did they see that match go down? How did they give the other guy the win?
Right.
The EDCC rules always kind of throw people for a loop.
Right.
So yeah, man, I knew exactly what how deep the water was that I was going into.
When you're getting ready for a match, do you selectively train for your opponent in specific situations like that, or do you pretty much do your own thing whenever you train?
I always drill scenarios, but I do a lot of just cardio conditioning training.
Right.
A lot of time on the mat of basically just kind of developing my cardio to make sure that I'm ready for the distance, for as long as the other guy can keep up.
Right. One of the things I've noticed about you as a competitor is the fact that you're probably one of the smarter competitors I've ever seen, even from when I used to watch you before, back when you used to do small little events down in Tampa at the MMAC and all these things. You're one of those guys that has a particular knack for understanding what it takes to win in particular scenarios and particular circumstances. Is that one of the reasons why you put yourself in the best physical condition you can be in, because you understand that a lot of times making those correct decisions and understanding how to do what it takes to win requires to be able to have the conditioning to do that and the wherewithal to do that?
Yeah, man. I bank my jiu-jitsu on the fact that I have great cardio.
Mm-hmm.
So like I know that I can push the limits, on myself. And I know it's very rare that I've ever competed or trained with somebody that has better cardio than me.
Right.
So, I bank on that, and then I use, my ability to problem solve in the match, and I just keep raising the stakes every time, and usually it does me well. I mean, I've lost matches because of me, putting my foot in my mouth, but for the most part, man, for the most part, I keep that high intensity and I keep problem solving, and I usually come on top.
I mean, putting your foot in your mouth has also got you where you're at now. So it's a part of it's a love-hate relationship.
Yep.
Well, in particular, the speaking along those terms about your conditioning and your ability, like this match last weekend at Kasai, and I'm sure everyone's talked about it, but interviewed by like 4 different people about this in 4 different organizations. But in particular, this fight you had at Kasai on the 4th of July was phenomenal, and more than anything, it was one of those matches where you can really tell that there was a test of will involved. Like, if you were to bracket it out into quarters or periods, like a baseball game or like a football game or a basketball game, your opponent was definitely winning the first probably 2 to 3 quarters. He was pushing the pace. He had scored on you. You were hanging in there and hanging tough, but and some of the points were kind of shady. I remember a couple of them were kind of a little bit rough, and you got a couple bad calls, and I was actually worried that you were going to get screwed again. Something about Kasai.
I'm always on the tail end of bad calls.
Man,
never on the right side of it.
Kasai in particular loved. I mean, they changed the rules for you. Kasai in particular has a way of
I don't
wanting
think
to
it's
screw you.
Kasai because it's not Kasai, the body that is really hounding me. It's I don't like the IBJJF rules, and the referees are just I think they and them itself, not the particular guys, but the rules itself don't favor me. I don't know. I just feel like I'm always on. Like there was moments in the match that I can find video and I can put it on the internet and ask and be like, well, why isn't this 2 or why isn't this points? Because I don't even understand myself. But I know that if I made you sit on your butt for a second or 2, that it should be at least something. You know what I mean? And I just, again, like I said, I feel like I'm always on the tail end of a bad decision.
Right. Well, in particular, in this match on the 4th of July, like it was one of those moments, man. It was one of those classic moments in combat sports or in sports in general when there was an opportunity for someone to win and someone to lose. And when that opportunity came upon itself, you were the one that took advantage of it. You were the one that pushed through and forced a mistake or capitalized on a mistake against someone that is a proven competitor. I mean, that dude was tough. That was an amazing match. I mean, I was sitting 4 rows back watching it live, and people were talking to me, and I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, I want to watch this match. Leave me alone. This is amazing. This is Vagner Rocha, like at his best, doing some of his best work. Tell me some of the things that were going through your mind in that period or in that moment when you had the opportunity.
I ended up getting scored on about the 3rd or 4th minute in off a shot he took, and I went for a Kimura, and I didn't think that was point in itself.
Me either, but it's no big deal.
Yeah, I ended up losing down 2-0, and then I knew that that this guy was going to play the game. He was going to try to hold off those 2 points and ride him out. And I was determined not to allow him to do that. I was like, nah, you're not gonna win this match with 2 points. I was like, you might get 2 more along the way, but you're not gonna get the 2, and you're not gonna win them 2. I was like, you're gonna have to fight me for more points, or you just fight me not to let me get points on you. And he just started like backpedaling, and I was like, man, if he's backpedaling, that means he's scared. I was like, if he was pushing forward and trying to fight me, then it would be a different match. He started backpedaling, and I started getting underhooks, and he ran out of bounds once, and I, again, I don't know the rules, and I said to the referee, I was like, yo, he's running out of bounds. Like, this guy's backing up out of bounds, and the referee penalized me for talking to him, and then we went back to the show. And I think it was a good thing that I got penalized for doing that because some may say, oh yeah, you talked to the referee, you got a point on the board against you. But I'll tell you that what happened was I started doing the same thing again, and the guy started backing out of bounds. And when I got a good grip on him, instead of the referee resetting us in the middle at 0, he reset us back in the same position, which came into my favor. The first time we went out of bounds, he reset us in the middle, facing each other. And then when I came out of bounds the second time, he reset me in the middle in the same position, which I was like, oh, this wasn't what he did the first time. And then I tried to take his back, and I missed. And I said, okay, I'll do it again. So I went to towards the guy attacking. I got an underhook. He defended. I shot. I took him down. He fell on his ass. He turned a turtle, and I was able to get behind him again. and then we went out of bounds again because he was running out of bounds, and the referee reset us in the middle in the same position, which is the right thing to do, you know. Which don't see in IBJJF tournaments. These guys go out of
No,
bounds, and the
no.
referee resets in the middle, standing in, which is
Yeah,
so retarded.
it's very bad. It's
Because
obvious, guys.
people
Vague.
run, they sit
Yeah,
on the edge of the mat running. You know, come on, man.
yeah,
That promotes stalling. That promotes bad fights. That
right,
promotes everything that you shouldn't be what we need in jiu-jitsu. You know,
right.
and
They don't do a very good job of keeping track of those penalty points either for things like that when they're supposed to get them down.
yeah, man. So they like I said, I got penalized for talking to the ref, but then on the other end, I got it right. You know, I got it back, and finally, when we resettled the third time in the middle, I was able to take us back and trap him up. You know, and score to win. You know,
So
with less than a minute left, right?
are these all? You talked about a whole lot of things, a whole lot of strategic aspects of your jiu-jitsu game, and a lot of things that led up to from the beginning to the end. Is this something that you have an internal dialogue with yourself throughout the course of a match, to where you're constantly breaking down these scenarios in real time and then reacting accordingly to the positions that you're in, or is it something that kind of happens a little more organic for you, a little more like muscle memory and natural?
No, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I have I feel like I have amazing cardio, and back to what I said from the beginning, and that gives me the ability to really like think while I'm fighting, and I'm not tired. You know, I'm not thinking about how I'm tired. I'm not thinking about how the guy's winning. I'm thinking about what he's doing and why he's doing it. You know, like, and in this case, this guy was like ass back, hands in front of him, and he was short and strong. So I didn't want to be like trying to shoot on his legs and get guillotined like the next guy. You know. So I said, you know what, I'm going to start to try to tie up on his arms and hands, try to get to like a double unders, or maybe, a head and arm, or, a body lock, or, any kind of like Russian tie on his arms, something to make him move. Because I kind of played guard for him for a second too, and I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen.
Right.
I'm going to sweep this guy, and he's going to stall me on the ground, and I'm not going to let him do that either.
Right. He was a freaking spark plug. He wasn't that big of a guy, but dude, he was freaking solid, man. He was just all
his
straight
calves,
muscle.
his chest, his back, everything was just.
He had that kind of like barrel chested kind of guy.
Yeah.
Another question. So you talked a lot about how you communicate with the referees, and this is something that, as an American in a Brazilian sport, that I think a lot of Americans find, and I don't mean this in any way, but just the way I observe it. A lot of Americans find when particularly the Brazilians, or when other people tend to communicate with the referees, they find that as distasteful or unsportsmanlike. But in my opinion, it seems to me that almost the ability to influence calls is not necessarily bad. It's something that's part of the culture. And, when you watch events like the Mundials, like some of the arguments you have with the coaches and the referees are almost as heated as the arguments that come on the mat. Do you feel like that strategic aspect of the game is something that is culturally part of the Brazilian community more than the American community? Maybe that's why we don't get it as much. And B, something that is obviously necessary, because I think it was necessary because it helped you to get to that position you were talking about. So now, instead of having to restart in the middle, the referee remembered and said, wait a minute, he bitched before, but I'm inside of his head now. I'm helping to influence myself to win the match.
I feel like I did.
Yeah.
Look at it, it happened in that sense, which normally doesn't happen in the rule sets. You know what I mean?
Right.
It happened that he restarted us in the same position in the middle, as opposed to the first time we went out of bounds. And, there's a lot to change in the rules of jiu-jitsu, and people don't notice that. And these little kind of things like that is where I notice. I'm like, man, yeah, I took a penalty, but you know what? It wasn't that bad because it worked out in my favor,
Right. Do you think that's something that
video of that, like, that would be cool for people to see too,
Right. I mean, I'm right there with you, because believe me, like I compete all the freaking time too, and in part of competing and part of coaching is, yeah, I'm not trying to make you change your mind. I just want you to remember that, hey, you might have missed that. You know what I mean? And then down the road, when
Referees are humans, man.
they are
They're gonna
humans,
mess up.
right?
They're
Then
not.
down the
They're not
road,
perfect. You
when
know.
another opportunity comes up, now maybe in your mind you're thinking to yourself, oh shit, maybe I missed that advantage, or maybe I missed this, or maybe I screwed that call up. Maybe I need to kind of make it up to Vagner or to Kevin or someone else because they brought it to my attention.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. But
We're talking about the pure essence of the influence. You know.
right, people that don't necessarily compete enough don't really understand like what it means to be a competitor, to try to get any kind of competitive edge you can come up with. And it's not cheating. It's not cheating. It's not like you went out there and smacked him. It's not like you threw dust in your opponent's eyes or freaking, were just deceptive to the referee. You're just trying to get things to go your way, get a competitive edge.
That's it.
Cool. So tell me about your training week, man. How many sessions you put in a week? Do you feel like, I mean, how old are you now, by the way? What are you, 36?
37. Turned 37 a month ago.
I got fucking shoes older than you. Go fuck yourself.
I'm old though. It's not gonna work
Nah,
out.
you're getting there, brother. You're getting there. You're still hanging with them young bucks. I'm impressed with you. Tell me about now that you're, first of all, tell me about your training week. And do you feel like that now, as you're starting to get past that 35, 36 age, 37, closer to 40, do you feel like you have to alter your training schedule to kind of allow yourself to rest and heal up a little bit more?
Yeah, I do. I'm like consistently, look at this. Consistent with an ice pack on my chest and on my knees and on my hands and on my body. Just
Right.
consistently trying to, find the new way to heal and to get better so that I can train, less but more.
Right.
If that makes sense.
No, it 100% makes sense. It's tough, man, and me as an older guy out there still trying. I mean, obviously, I always talk about myself like this shit, but I'm not like I'm out there with you fucking guys. But I am for a certain extent. But whatever, you know what the fuck I'm
You
saying.
compete, my friend. You're
Right.
out there. You put your ass on the line.
Right, but I have found that past about 35, 36 is when my body has started realizing, wait a minute, I just can't do this every day anymore. And what starts to happen is it starts to become like counterproductive. Like you start to get to a point to where overtraining really becomes an issue. And it's something that people talk about, in their younger days of what overtraining is. And they think they know what it is, but they don't really get it. When you start getting closer to 40, I find that like I want to be in the best condition as I possibly. I know what it takes to go out there and have to get through a fucking 8-minute match and a 4-minute overtime, and you know what I mean. You have to be in amazing shape to do that. But I also realize that I have to have my rest, or my body just won't be able to continue to move that way. And rest is almost as important as training at a certain age when you get to be a certain age.
That's true.
Yeah. So, what about your diet? You eat pretty clean? You eat like a freaking
I try to eat as clean as possible. I try to stay away from like red meat and bread and carbs that are no good for you.
Yeah.
Trying to eat a lot of greens and have a very balanced diet.
Do you have any food prep services or anything you work with? You cook your own food?
No, man. I have an amazing wife who very intelligent on how I should be eating.
Right.
And she's always one step ahead of me on my food. So I'm blessed that way.
Yeah, she's a really sweet girl. I've met her a few times. She's awesome, man. She's really cool. You have a great family. Let's talk about your kids for a little bit, man. Your kids are fucking kicking ass too, man. Like, freaking man, Jasmine's on a tear.
Yeah, Jasmine's always trying to keep ahead of the kids her age, and my son's also a savage himself. He's 12 years old, and he's about my size right now.
He is. I was looking at him on Saturday in Tampa at the Jids team when I was in there warming up, and I think you might have been. Oh no, he was warming up with
Jim Hallers.
Yeah, exactly. He was kind of working with him a little bit. And I'm thinking to myself, man, that is that little kid from like 4 years ago that
Yeah,
was
man.
freaking like like 3 feet tall, a little chubby kid, wasn't talking to nobody. And look at him now; he's like a grown up man,
Yeah, man. He's
manhandling people.
fighting men. You know.
All right, man. So it's getting late. I'm just gonna freaking get you a little chat. I wanted to get that information about the match at Kasai because it was such a good match, and I really wanted to get your take on it. And I just wanted to get a few little pointers from a few little tidbits from you. Because to be quite honest with you, I fucking love you, man.
Appreciate,
Like
I appreciate the love, man. Yeah,
you are like
trying to represent
jujitsu.
our Florida, man.
Yeah,
Trying to
brother.
represent our state,
Yes, you do,
our
brother.
people, man. Our friends, our everybody that's together, man.
Yeah, brother. Like jujitsu is at a particular crossroads right now, and I think there's a definite opportunity for it to break through for that next level event. You know what I mean? And again, it's probably never going to be baseball. It's never going to be basketball. It's never going to be freaking hockey. But there's an opportunity for it to at least break through to the masses to at least have people understand and appreciate watching jujitsu, and that's provided on us having entertaining matches and entertaining figures of the sport. And by all means, you are both of those, brother. You are not only an entertaining grappler and an entertaining fighter, you are an entertaining human being that makes jujitsu real, man. And it's fucking awesome to watch you do your thing all the time, man. So I appreciate it.
I appreciate you saying that, and I really work hard for those moments, you know. So it's hard. It's good to hear that you're appreciated for what you do, man.
All right, man. Well, get your rest, dude. Go kick ass against JT. I'm telling you, I may fly up to Philly, man. I got a couple of flights waiting around for me, and I got family to live up there. I might go up there and watch that damn match. Bring my
He's
cousins out to watch it, man.
he's gonna be in a lot of work on come that night.
Yeah, dude. There's tons of great matches on that match. Seth puts on great cards too, man. So.
Always fight to win's always great.
Well, all right, brother.
Have
I'm
a
gonna
good
let
night.
you get some sleep, man. I know it's a late night. We got a late start on this, but I appreciate you giving me your time, man.
Thank you, my brother.
All right, brother. I'm gonna hang up. Stay on the line so we can talk for a few seconds after I end the broadcast.
For sure.
All right, brother.